Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Andrews, and I'm here with the National Sports Media Association. And today I have Mr. Collins with me. Mr. Collins, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for including me.
Of course, of course. So before we get started, can we get a little bit of background information on you?
Sure. Oh, you want me to give you the back?
Yeah.
Okay. Eric Collins, born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland Heights to be exact. I've been in television or radio since 1994, probably. I went to college at a small school in upstate New York called St. Lawrence University. I was a philosophy major. Um, I've been kind of bumbling around doing television, very fortunate. I've worked in Chicago, I've worked in Rochester. I've worked for different teams like the Rochester Red Wings minor league baseball team, the Schaumburg Flyers minor league baseball team, the Los Angeles Dodgers for 5 years. I was their TV announcer when Vin Scully no longer traveled. And I've been with the Charlotte Hornets now for 9 full seasons, just ended the 9th season this spring.
That's great. And how exactly did you get into the industry?
I made the commitment. Back in when I was a kid growing up, I really kind of thought that local news was a real cool concept and something that I thought was necessary and a vital part of everyone's day. Back in the 80s, doing play-by-play really wasn't a thing because really there was only network people who were getting jobs. Actually, I shouldn't say people. There were only network men getting jobs. It was a very small little niche. Most teams didn't have a television play-by-play. You couldn't make your living doing that because they didn't have 82 games that were televised and basketball-wise. And there's only a handful of baseball games that were televised by my Cleveland Indians at the time. Back then, obviously, radio was always full time, but I always wanted to get into local television news. And I went to Chicago because Chicago was the biggest city that I thought was accessible. New York was kind of just too much, and I thought there'd be too many people there. But I went to Chicago and waited tables for a while. And while I was waiting tables, I was networking and meeting people. And a big part of my life was actually something called the Chicago Association of Black Journalists. I became a member. I met people. I rubbed elbows, and one thing led to another. And I got a low-level job at the NBC affiliate in Chicago, making $8 an hour, but getting every single possible experience imaginable. I was interviewing Mayor Daley. I was out with homicides and city council meetings, and I met people. And more importantly, I was with camera operators who had been there forever. And I was learning the business through these camera operators while going out in the field and watching firefighters, fight a fire. So I got great experience doing that. And I eventually got my own job as an on-air television reporter in in Rochester, New York. And I did that for a year. And after doing it for a full year, I realized it was going to be hard to live the rest of my life doing local television news because it was a tough gig. Every single day you got to come in and learn something brand new about something that you didn't know before. And I wasn't great at it. I was going to get great, but I wasn't great immediately. And I stumbled into an opportunity to do play-by-play for the Rochester baseball team, a minor league baseball team that I was living in the city I was living in. And I started doing that, and I knew that immediately I was meant to do that. Like that was something that just, I wasn't good, but I knew that the rhythm of sports and talking fit me. And I've been doing TV sports ever since.
That's great. So you're just kind of saying like you were drawn into sports already, and that kind of helped you with play-by-play, just kind of knowing your information, and it was just came natural.
Oh, no, you wouldn't, people come up to me all the time and say, oh, my son or daughter, they love sports. They read the sports page every day. They have so much in common with you. You should meet them. I've never met anyone who had this bizarre obsession that I've had my entire life with everything sports related. I can't put it down. I never have been. It's been the driving force of my life since I was probably, 6 years old. I played every single sport under the sun, but when I wasn't playing the sport, I was reading about it. And that was kind of my niche. And so to have a job and a livelihood for the last, 35 years now, which has been sports related, it has just bit me like a teeth.
And you've been in the industry for so long. Are there any memorable stories or highlights that you'd like to share?
Well, it's nothing in particular, but just like looking back, the fact that I have done a Major League Baseball game in every Major League ballpark. The fact that I've done an NBA game in every NBA arena, the fact that I've done a football game in every SEC football stadium, every Big Ten stadium, every Big 12 stadium. It's the collectiveness that kind of really does it for me. I've been in a lot of different worlds doing a lot of different sports. There aren't too many of us who have been a Major League Baseball announcer and an NBA announcer. And so the fact that I've been in two totally separate worlds, baseball people and basketball people, they don't mix. It's baseball people are, it's in basketball is a totally different vibe. So the fact that I grew up in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, and that made a difference to me. Growing up where I grew up, it was a melting pot of people. It was white kids, it was black kids, it was Jewish kids, it was biracial kids like me, and that's been a real asset to me going throughout this business, is being able to fit into certain situations. I've never considered that to be a negative. It's always been a huge positive for me.
Definitely. And what do you enjoy most about calling live games? That since you are a play-by-play announcer.
It's all about the energy. Like to me, it's a rush. It always has been. The Hornets could be, and they frequently are, 40 games below 500. But on any given day, something really cool and special and unique could happen. And it's my job to identify it and to celebrate it. And it all comes natural to me. Nothing is ever about energy drinks or about caffeine. It's all something that just kind of gets me jazzed. On a normal basis, I'm an excitable guy. When I see something that I like, that excites me, it spills over. And to me, that's the joy of my job, is I get paid to be in a situation that I get to look for joy and experience joy and celebrate joy. So that's kind of my broadcasting philosophy.
And with calling a game, is there any type of routine that you go through, or like daily habit that kind of gets you ready for each game?
Everything I do is truly, since for so many years, every part of my day is designed towards making me a better broadcaster. I wake up with breathing exercises. I read certain things every single day just to make sure that I have the necessary tools in my brain to continue with the way that I'm going forward, to stay unique, to stay fresh. I do mental games every single day. I do crossword puzzles. I do word searches. I do whatever I can to make sure that I'm as sharp as I can. I love reading anything under the sun. I've been fascinated with words my entire life. And if there's a word or something that I've never heard before or something that interests me, I immediately look it up and I write it down. I commit it to memory. Just a big believer in vocabulary. But every single day, what I do is geared towards becoming a better broadcaster. Actually, and to that end, I've told the story 1,000 times before. I haven't watched a broadcast with the sound on since the 1990s. I would never listen to a game that has a sound on it because I believe that my voice has to be unique. And I never want to hear what anyone else would say, because my voice needs to be the most important thing for the job that I do. And if I ever said something that I felt was recycled, like if I used a word or a phrase or something that someone else used, it would make me just cringe, and I wouldn't be able to kind of get over it in the course of my broadcast. Everything in my world that I believe in has to be unique, and it's a philosophy that I adopted back in 1999, and it's gotten me where I am right now.
Yeah, definitely. And what advice would you give an aspiring caster?
Fall in love with sports, fall in love with, well, either you are in love or you aren't. So identify, are you that person? Like, can you live without it? I couldn't. Sports to me was, the most important thing outside my family growing up. And I couldn't live without sports. And so getting a job in sports has been the best thing that happened to me professionally. So my advice was identify yourself early. Can you live without it? Now, if you can live without it, you can save yourself a lot of heartache, because there's a lot of downs in this business. There's a lot of time, kind of mucking it around and getting disappointed and being maybe places where you don't want to be and making money that you feel is not quite worth it. So if you have other options, I would strongly consider that. But if it's in your blood, there are 1,000 different ways to skin the cat and stay in the sports world. You're holding a microphone, you can be behind the camera. There's a lot of different things nowadays to make money and have a career in sports. So I strongly suggest to people to identify what type of people they are. If you can't live without it, go for it. It's totally worth it. But it's not always instant. Depending on your last name, sometimes it is instant, but more often than not, it's not. So, but go for it. Why not? It's a worthwhile career, and I've had nothing but great things to say about it. But it's something that fit my eye and something that I had to do.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on your 2024 National Sports Media Association Award. And thank you for allowing me to interview you today.
Had a blast. Thank you.